Hello. Hope everyone is doing well. So, welcome, and we're going to do a meditation in this integrated mindfulness approach or style. It'll be about 25 minutes, and then maybe 10 minutes or so of some comments, and I have a couple of quotes that I'm planning on reading. Okay, great. So let's begin. So settling in, just coming into a posture that'll support you in being both alert and at ease. Just aware of what's here now. And aware of this shift to being mindful and aware of what you're aware of. So perhaps just checking in, noticing what it's like in the body right now, sitting and breathing, or even standing or lying down. Sensing into the energetic sense of the body as a whole. Maybe also aware of the breath. Noticing what it's like in the mind and heart right now. And reminding yourself, you don't need to change anything in this moment. Perhaps also aware of the space around the body, sounds. And perhaps also noticing this very obvious thing, a sense of me doing all this, me, the meditator, intending and to some extent controlling. And so that kind of doing me is a useful tool for lots of different tasks, but it's not the right tool for everything. It has a narrow view and often doesn't see the big picture. So we're practicing in recognizing and connecting with the rest of us, or the greater part of us, this awake awareness. Just checking in and noticing what that me, the meditator, feels like. Where do you feel it in the body? Perhaps there's a subtle psychological sense that's even hard to pin down. Just noticing that. And we can just switch, and it only takes a millisecond and no distance at all. we can switch from being aware of this sense of me to recognizing that which is aware of the sense of me. And there may be thoughts coming up. Did I do that? Did that happen? Can I be aware? Can awareness be aware of itself? All of that is actually just the me, the meditator again. Not a problem. So you notice the me, the meditator, once again. And it's like relaxing, allowing the mind to fall open. Noticing what's already here, that's already aware of absolutely everything that's happening. This awake awareness that you are. We are. And if that recognition feels stable, then just staying with that, just allowing awareness to know itself. Perhaps this sense of spaciousness all around you, deep within you. And if that's feeling a bit wobbly, you might see if that awake awareness can use an anchor like the breath. So rather than the me, the meditator, focusing directly on the breath, seeing if this supportive space around you, within you, this awake awareness, aware of, flowing through, giving rise to the breath. So using the breath as an anchor from this broad awareness. And then just suggesting a third option before we have some silence. If that feels too unstable and wobbly, then just picking up that tool of me, the meditator, or deliberate mindfulness, and using me, the meditator, to be aware of the breath. Perhaps, though, knowing that me, the meditator, is simply a series of patterns of sensation, maybe thought, emotion. It's a tool. It plays a little bit of a psychological trick, pretending it's us. Not a problem. But if you like, can use me, the meditator, to be aware of the breath, and maybe be on the lookout for moments when you might be able to let go of me, the meditator, and turn over responsibility to awake awareness, to be aware of the breath, other objects, even aware of itself. Noticing right now that which is aware of thinking, that which is aware of the breath. And using these two other approaches if you need more stability at this moment. And noticing if the attention has gotten pulled into thinking, perhaps noticing almost right away if that has happened. There may be a sense of, oh, I just did the wrong thing, or trying to correct it. So that's a really great point in the meditation to notice the sense of self or me, the meditator. Because if your attention was pulled into thinking and you recognized it when you heard me mention it, invariably, the me, the meditator, that's supposed to be in control will be like, well, I got caught asleep at the wheel, so to speak. And it will jump into fix-it mode. So it's really prominent at that point. And you could just use that instance to really get a feel for what that me consists of, what it feels like. The more that we actually get a good taste of what the me, the meditator, consists of and feels like, paradoxically, the more that we are able to recognize what's already here and is aware, but isn't that limited self. Because what's already here and aware is, of course, what is knowing the limited self in that moment. So perhaps again, allowing the mind to open, so to speak, relax. Know that there's nothing you need to do in this moment to create this awareness. It's more a matter of no longer covering it up, no longer kind of stirring the waters with the fixing, creating mind. Letting this awake awareness know itself, or perhaps know the breath. Allowing whatever happening, sounds, sensations, thoughts, emotions, to come and go. And so if you like, for the last 2 or a little more than 2 minutes of the meditation, just experimenting with completely letting go of any intention to meditate, to direct your experience in any way. Just allowing the mind to fall completely open. Nothing to do, nothing to be. Okay, great. So if you like, maybe moving around a little, stretching. So I was going to, I think, read a couple of quotes from Ajahn Sumedho, who I've quoted before. I've been read his stuff for many years, but and listened to his talks, but going through some things which are very targeted, and a lot of his teaching is pretty much very similar to what we're doing. And he is a Buddhist monk. He's actually an American. He lived in Thailand for a number of years, training with Ajahn Chah, and then was the head of this group of monks and nuns worldwide after Ajahn Chah died. And his, although he's deep within that Buddhist tradition and culture, what he talks about is accessible really to anyone. It sometimes has a kind of a context that it's helpful to understand something about the early Buddhism, but in many cases not. So really easy to get quotes from him that we can apply no matter really what your background is. So in one place he wrote, "There is this pure presence of knowing and consciousness. Try to recognize that. You can't find it in a form to grasp, but you can trust it. You can trust being the awareness. When you see yourself as, in quotes, somebody trying to become aware, you are creating yourself again. What he's referring to there, what you are creating yourself, is what we were calling me-the-meditator in that meditation. So back to Ajahn Sumedho. What I am talking about is more a sense of relaxing, opening, receiving, than trying to attain. Okay. So I'll just mention the trying to attain is very, very definitely the province of the deliberate me-the-meditator, normal, everyday mind. Nothing wrong with it. It's a tool, but it is just that. It's just a tool. And it has the characteristics of seeing what it expects to see, doing what it's done before, judging and filtering. That's kind of its job in many ways. And so limited for our purposes here, which is, whether we come from stress reduction or freedom from the mind that is actually the source of suffering. So the trying to attain, if we do that, we're using the wrong muscle, if you will. That's the kind of doing mind. When it comes to recognizing this pure presence of knowing and consciousness, as he calls it, or trusting awareness. So another in the same book, he says, you don't attain awareness, you recognize it. It is a natural state of being that is recognized through receiving this moment without trying to control or limit it, irrespective of whether this moment is pleasant or unpleasant, wanted or unwanted. So in NBSR and other mindfulness training, we talk a bit about this equanimity, or allowing whatever is here to be here, or acceptance. So irrespective of whether pleasant or unpleasant, receiving this moment, whether we want it or we don't want it. And, one perspective that the teacher Locke Kelly, who I've mentioned a couple of times, he's also a psychotherapist, has mentioned, which I think is really can help us, because to some extent you can see, well, how is it possible to receive this moment, a pandemic, for example? Boy, is that unpleasant and difficult and destructive and all that kind of stuff. So what does it mean, receiving this moment without trying to control it or limit it? And so, one perspective that Locke talks about that I think can be really helpful is, when we are thinking that way, how could I possibly allow something unpleasant to be here? That is the small mind, if you will, the doing mind, the conditioned mind. You're not going to teach that dog the trick of allowing whatever is here to be here. It's not a matter of convincing that part of yourself, because it really would just be pretending. It's really, once again, it doesn't see the big picture. It sees what it expects to see, all that kind of stuff. It isn't really capable, that part of you, of allowing whatever is here to be here. But luckily, the part of you that is capable of that is already allowing whatever is here to be here. It's just that it's the background and we don't notice it because we got all this stuff happening in the foreground that covers it up. that's picking and choosing and rejecting, wanting, grabbing onto, planning to get more of, whatever it is. And so it's not like we're trying to get rid of that part of our mind, because we wouldn't actually be able to survive. But we begin to notice it and use it as at its best use. And in this kind of meditation, we're allowing, all of that stuff that's happening to move from center stage a little bit, to be a little more transparent, to recognize, like the me-the-meditator, recognize what it consists of, and then turn it around and notice what is actually aware of what me-the-meditator consists of. And the more that we keep connecting with that and trust in the awareness, as Ajahn Sumedho was saying, the more we can actually notice, oh, this awareness, which of course is me, it's obviously not somebody else, right? Already is holding this moment, and it's not picking and choosing and rejecting and grabbing onto. It doesn't need to. So it's really less a matter of improving the small mind or the me-the-meditator mind or the whatever it is. It's less a matter of improving that and recognizing it's just a small part and connecting with the whole, which is this awake awareness, which is already allowing whatever is here to be here. So that's why Ajahn Sumedho mentions you can't attain awareness, you can't grasp it. It's more of being the awareness, or recognizing that you already are the awareness. Okay. Hopefully that is helpful, either now or in the future. And look forward to practicing with you again sometime next week, same time, same channel, unless you're watching the recording. And thank you. Take care.